I'll take over from here, chap.
Double O Duck, You Only Crash Twice, is an interesting episode, and one of the episodes that play off of an episode from the original called Double O Duck. Actually, I think this is one of the few episodes that actually do that really well. You can view this whole thing as sort of a way to connect the two series. Maybe this whole series is like the Earth 2 of the Disney Afternoon universe. I'm not a big fan of the episode's logic, and that F.O.W.L thinks a kid's restaurant is a good place to hide from Scrooge, and that the best way to get him out was to do anything but turn the power off. Like, think about it. The idea is Scrooge has to leave. He has to get out of here. So instead of just turning the machine off or just letting him play out the game, they decide to just go with the most complicated method possible. And maybe it's because they put Steelbeak in charge. This is somewhat believable. But even then, you have to think, how long has Scrooge been there for them to know about it? Like, by default, if Scrooge's family is there, at some point he would show up there. So it's already a big deal. Also, Beakley would more than likely pick them up usually. So, what? Anyway, that's just sort of me, questioning the logic of that episode, which you probably shouldn't do unless it's glaringly obvious to you as a viewer. But anyway.
So what you whinging about?
I'm not whinging.
Your lips are moving and you're complaining about something. That's whinging.
A bigger issue was that Launchpad was all of a sudden smarter, but still didn't realize all he had to do was tell Dewey to tell Scrooge and the others about F.O.W.L, and that would have worked. It's a fun story, and honestly, as fun as smart Launchpad and annoying as Dewey is, to me it doesn't matter because Rescue Rangers. And luckily, Frank Agnes, I hope I said that right, he announced on Twitter exactly how this all came to be, and I'm going to just sort of read that for you now. It's pretty well known at this point that at the start of the show we were told Mickey was pretty much off limits. He's a big icon and mascot that requires all kinds of approvals. Lesser known is the other property we were told was off limits, Rescue Rangers. For the past couple of years, various departments at Disney have been kicking around a big Rescue Rangers project. Most recently, that feature idea from Lonely Island announced in development a while ago. Bigger projects were in play that would restrict our ability to use them. This was way back in the beginning when we proposed them as an underground resistance fighters that tagged their logo wherever they helped, like Zorro. They became a white whale for us, but we figured, oh well, it's just not going to happen. Until season 3, we started breaking the story for O. We needed a lab animal for Heron to test her IntelliRay on. Someone brought up the idea that maybe it was Gadget. The room went silent, followed by hushed whispers of no, we couldn't, it's not allowed. We decided to focus on just one, and we only ever referred to her as Intelligent Rodent in script and design because if anyone noticed, the idea would be shot down for sure. It was a cameo in one shot. But of course we couldn't help ourselves. We kept finding opportunities for her to actually get involved in the story. At this point, if we'd been stopped, there would have been a random smart mouse getting a lot of airtime for some reason. It became a game of chicken. How far could we push this before we got caught and rightfully stopped? I was shocked when I saw the first boys, and suddenly all the Rescue Rangers were suddenly in it. The response was, if we're going to do it, we got to do it. Thankfully, when our show execs caught on, they saw how cool it could be, and much like Mickey Mellon, before them conveniently looked the other way, which I didn't know was a big deal, but whatever. I think we were also saved a bit by the fact that we were following by Rescue Ranger show rules where humans, or in our case ducks, couldn't understand them and just heard squeaks. At some point, I think everybody just got on board with it, and we had proven ourselves a bit. So we got away with turning a small Easter egg featuring a character we were never allowed to use into an extended cameo featuring everybody and the theme song. I'm really thankful that Disney let us get away with it, and I love the idea that the version of all the versions of the heritage characters in our world have some connection to Scrooge and company. We started the show with the idea that Scrooge was the world's greatest adventurer who has had run-ins with all the other great adventurers in the world. Of course, that should naturally make include the Rangers, Darkwing, the Gummies, and more. So that was actually really cool that we were able to get away with this. I think that was great. And they really do sort of steal the show, but not in a way that steals the story. The story is still Launchpad's weird obsession with proving he has to be Dewey's best friend. Like, he has to be this super important friend for Dewey. Like, Dewey needs to do this. He's got to be the best at this. So yeah, that was weird. I didn't like the bit when Launchpad gets hit by the IntelliRay and Intelligent Launchpad goes,
I'll take over from here, chap.
That's cool. I did like in the end when Leader F.O.W.L just says,
no intelligence rays, or freeze rays, or any kind of rays.
And he sort of points out the idea that the IntelliRay is stupid. It's dangerous, actually, if you think about the implications of it. This is the gyro gear loose idea that only is safe and ethical within the confines of Gyro's lab. Once it leaves, the possibilities are horribly dangerous. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Was this episode good? Well, if we take out my dislike of Dewey, I think it's a great episode. I actually do. It's not one of my top favorite episodes, but it's a fun little adventure. Not my favorite Launchpad episode of all time. That actually would still probably be Launchpad Civil War, but that's from the original. And the Dark Knight Returns is more of a Darkwing Duck story as much as Launchpad's in there, as well as a satire of, superhero movies. But whatever. If you haven't seen this episode already, I think you should. It's fun. It's a great little Scrooge plot with a fun little machine, and F.O.W.L sort of makes it clear what their intention is. Eventually. And we kind of ruined Steel Peak. But anyway, we'll bring this video closer. If you're new to the Bucket Think Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, check out some other videos, and I'll catch you all later. This is the Bucket Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, may your fandom serve you well.
For Dewey and Duckburg.